Banks borrowing from CBN declines by 76% to 4 trillion naira. Koran says Dangote refinery puts Nigeria on the path of self-sufficiency. Asian shares stumble after global sell-off. Yen hits 1 month high. On our show today, we'll stay with Premium Motor Spirit Petrol and its pricing. What are the key issues around this and how can they be addressed? That's on the first side of our show. And on the other side of our show, we examine market forces and external forces affecting the price of cooking gas in the country as it continues to rise despite government commitment to ramp up production and stabilize the market. Let's start with stories making headlines and we get to our discussion very quickly. This Crude Oil Refining Owners Association of Nigeria say the commencement of production of premium motor spirit by Dangote Refinery has reinforced Nigeria's position on the global energy stage. Chairman of the association, Mr. Momo Oyeruka, said this in a statement while facilitating with Mr. Aliko Dangote on the remarkable achievement of commencing the production of PMS. He said the refinery commencement had put the country on the path of self-sufficiency in petroleum product refining and development of associate industries. The chairman says the significant milestone is not only a testament to the dedication and hard work of Dangote Refinery, but also a reflection of the collective resolve of Koran to contribute meaningfully to the economic development and well-being of Nigerians. New data from the Central Bank of Nigeria shows that borrowing from the Apex Bank standing lending facility declined by 76.4% month-on-month to 4 trillion naira in August from 17.12 trillion naira in July. Details of the figure contained in the CBN's website shows that the bank deposit grew by 270.7% month-on-month to 8.12 trillion naira from 2.19 trillion naira in July. These developments indicate that banks are having idle funds in their systems and businesses are not accessing such funds due to the increase in borrowing rates as a result of recent raise in the monetary policy rate. This is coming back on the back of the CBN's recent increment in the rates of the SDF as part of the ongoing effort to discourage banks from holding excess liquidity at the CBN and promoting increased lending activities. The impact of petrol scarcity is especially felt on the cost of transportation. A random survey by our team on transport fares shows that motorists have increased their fares by about 35 to 50% in different parts of the state. Motorists who spoke to our reporters blamed the increase on fuel scarcity, noting that they needed to make adjustments to cover their running costs. Food prices have also gone up, as another survey shows that restaurants have increased their price of their food, citing the increase in cost of items in the markets. Other locations, aside from Lagos and Abuja, have also reported an increase in food prices. Food prices are directly connected to transport costs, as food produced in transport is transported from the villages to the markets. Beyond cost of transportation, the cost of production of cooked foods is also directly impacted by the scarcity of fuel. Most businesses, including restaurants, generate their own electricity with fuel-powered generators. This is serious. I have joining me the convener of the Northern Stakeholders Consultative Forum to look at this issue holistically and how it affects the entire economy. Mr. Yerima Shetima, good afternoon, and it's good to have you join the program.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Now, I want us to start this conversation talking about the present fuel scarcity that has lingered for some time for stations that have in stock are selling between 850 naira and 1,000 naira in some cases. Now, what do you make of this situation, particularly as it affects movement of food produced maybe from the north to the west and all other transportation and agriculture in its entirety?
Well, those are things naturally you expect when we find ourselves in these kind of situations. And for over time, the government have been so weak to come out boldly to address some of those fundamental issues. For over time, some of us foresaw this coming. And one of the critical situations is that often, of course, you should expect that when there are issues like this, every other thing, there will be inflation and so on and so forth. So one would have expected that long before now, because it was avoidable. The government, I wonder why they were pretending all this while. First and foremost, you have to also put into consideration that in 2023, there was no subsidy already. It has been removed by the previous government. And one would have expected that having gotten a new administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, having pronounced it, we would have been more sincere to ourselves to know that, yeah, this thing is not there. Nigeria will have to face it. Even though the government, on their part, they have made a lot of effort to explain. But we have critical challenge now. The communication hasn't gone down before. The government keep pretending. As we could see, one NNPC would, this cannot be sustained. And of course, we all know that this is not the responsibility of NNPC to regulate the marketing or to talk about the subsidy. It's purely government affair. And the government must be courageous enough to tell Nigerians, like, look, you can't give what you don't have. And that's exactly why we find ourselves in this situation. This is a serious quagmire.
Yeah, even you notice that Alhaji Dangote didn't mention the price for his refined petrol. Let's look at other African countries and even Europe and America. What is the average price of fuel per liter? And, you know?
Well, the fact of the matter is that still in Nigeria, even if we are buying fuel for 1,000, cannot be compared to even certain few countries, our neighborhood here, places like even Ghana here, Kenya and other places. You could see the prices are far more than 1,000, almost going to 2,000. If you compare that, the case of Nigeria, it's not as bad as it is, but the government must have to be more sincere to it. We found ourselves in a situation like this by the then administration of Muhammadu Buhari, who took the country to its nil as it is today. Drastic measures must be taken. The government must be more courageous to look at the face of Nigerians and tell them the truth. But from all indication, what we are seeing today, as lay people and the way the country is going, the whole blames are put on NNPC. But the truth of the matter is that the NNPC is making money, is a profit-making organization. So we have to consider that the government must be seen to do the needful and tell Nigerians the simple truth that this is the situation, this is the true thing that happened. Because if we are talking about 6 billion already, they have been in debt, they incur a debt of over 6 billion. Now, where do they expect them to come up with money again to continue to cushion the effect of all of this subsidy and so on and so forth? It's not possible. This is purely a government matter, and government must speak. We have gotten to that we can't pretend.
But we need to
government must take responsibility.
We need to look for a lasting solution to this recurrent scarcity that has continued to impede productivity. You will agree with me now that moving farm produce from the north to Lagos or anywhere now would be definitely very much on the high side. How do we now achieve energy security in all of this, considering all the contending issues?
Well, for over time, some of us have always been advocating for decentralizing the system as a whole. You know, the way it is now, if at the end of the day, look at the issue of insecurity from northern part of the country, and don't forget that most of what we get today as food, raw food coming are mostly 80 or 70% come from northern part of the country. But today, the challenge in northern part of the country, you could see the issue of insecurity has marred the entire region. And the farmers no longer go to farm. And now, coupled with this situation of even our crude oil, where to an extent also, maybe people are not aware that the production are really, really low. At the end of the day, look at the both challenges coming at the same time. This is critical period in our history. So for us to overcome some of these challenges, the government must be courageous enough to look at issues. We'll have to look inward to diversify the economy, not to over-depend on oil. The issue of insecurity must be analyzed and addressed in short term and go in and do the needful so that at the end of the day there will be surpluses over. Then at the end, the oil also must be seen to do better. Globally, where we know there's a problem in the whole countries, not only in Nigeria, but we must be seen to be more serious. The government of the day must take responsibility, no matter how they pretend and no matter how they shy. For obvious reasons, best known to them, whether politics or whatever, they must be seen to open up and say the simple truth to Nigerians. And then, so that at the end of the day, with proper communications, Nigerians can come all together, can come on board. Then all together we can have a collaborations with other organizations to see how we can do all of this to accept that this is reality and we have to work through it. But certainly, one thing I knew is because we still have faith in the government that the government can still do better. There's room for improvement. I believe strongly if they are courageous enough, we can all work together to ensure that we have a country that we can all be proud of. We are going to come out of this because it will not remain permanently. But we need to accept the reality that today we must face it the way it is.
That reality is coming out from subsidy removal, which obviously many expected that palliatives will come in and government will reach out to Nigerians, vulnerable ones, and look for one way or the other to cushion the effect of this removal. Part of it is the CNG powered vehicles that government is handing over to various states and all of that. But do you think that the fallout of subsidy removal has been properly managed by the present administration, looking at moves that have been made, those that have been executed, and those that are in the pipeline?
Effort have been made by the government in the last 1 year to cushion the effect of this subsidy removal. At the end of the day, as I speak with you, the messages keep going, but it's not going down to the people, the vulnerable people that are supposed to benefit from it. And to an extent, only recently we saw that certain money were given to state governors. But the attention of people is centered on the center, that's the central government. Rather than looking at the state governors, what are they doing with most of those funds that have been pushed to them? We are rather busy looking at the center. What are they doing now? What are they doing? And even to an extent, some of us now come to realize that the center has done enough, but it didn't go down to the people. So it's also responsibility on the part of the central government to ensure that most of those things they are sending down as a cushion effect. Of course, the issue of some of those palliative was just one of it. You must also come about looking at certain policy you do to also complement your effort and to make it down to the people, because the people are really angry. Things are not normal. People are very hungry in the land. There's no pretense about it. And I'm sure the president is quite aware of all of this. Policy must be put on ground where, beyond rhetoric, people must feel the impact positively that certain things are ongoing, so that at least the common man can have a hope for the country. And it requires all hands to be on decks. It's not just about the central government, the state, the local government. Everybody must be involved. The citizen must also be sincere and also be involved and key into the policy, so that at the end of the day we can save the country.
Mr. Rima, you agree with me that many will still say that NNPC still remains the last resort when it comes to supply of petroleum products. Yes, NNPC is now a limited liability company and they have to be accountable to Nigerians. But in all of the operations, what sort of conversation do you think we need to be having moving forward now? That's talking between the Ministry of Petroleum, the NNPC, and other regulators in the oil and gas industry.
The responsibility NNPC have to give what they don't have. My story, my previous NNPC has is running a charity home. Much as they are making their effort, they are just talking about incurring a debt of over 6 billion. Who takes responsibility of paying that money? The government must take responsibility. The federal government, the president, must be courageous enough, because the whole thing lies in his table. He needs to be courageous enough to tell Nigerians the simple truth and let them find a way, collaborate with the NNPC and discuss. I must commend the leadership of the NNPC for over time that have taken a lot of burden, despite the fact that some people, for their myopic thinking and so on and so forth, they are taking on an individual. That's the leadership. That's in person of the MD of the NNPC, Melekari. The issue is far beyond him. We must see it clear that certain things need to be done. The government must come in and play what is needful and do the needful and just move on.
So before I let you go, the stakeholders in the northern area of the country, how are they reacting to these challenges? We've gone round and we see everyone is shocked with the increasing price of transport, shocked with the impact on every aspect of their life. That's talking about the increase in the price of PMS. What reactions are you also getting from those that you represent?
Well, the northern part of the country, of course, for over time have been taking the brunt of all of this mess. And coupled with the present happenings, again, of course, you should expect that the situation is even worse in northern part of the country. The fact of the matter, our farmers will rely so much on farming, and our people cannot go to farm because of insecurity, despite the efforts by recent development that we are seeing. Only a few days ago, we saw the Minister for State also parading some of the army chiefs security chiefs to converge in Sokoto, and we could see the effort in the last 48 hours. The people are beginning to have hopes that certain things are ongoing under the leadership of the Minister for Defense, Bello Matawale, giving hope. At least it's good now. We're beginning to have hope that certain things, the government has actually took responsibility that certain things need to be done, and we hope at the end of the day something positive will come out of this operation. But the fact of the matter is that the issue of the North is really, really, really serious than you can never imagine. The people in the South are even more in paradise, despite the fact that they complain also. But the case of the North for over time will be like this. The 8 years of Buhari was something to write home about. Compare in the last 8 years of Buhari, most of this problem we're facing today was what was laid before the successive government and that comes on board. And this is exactly what we are reaping. 1 year is not enough to address a problem that had happened for over 8 years. It's not possible. It is wanting to destroy it. Another thing again to put it back. Putting it back cannot be as easy as destroying. The last administration has not done well at all, and we must be courageous enough to say it. One of the issues that I'm even more bothered about is that the government must also be seen to take responsibility and address Nigerians, and also bring most of those who serve in various capacities that have looted the country, that have taken away the money of the country to their personal pocket or for their personal account, must be dealt with decisively and be brought to book to account for it. I don't understand why the government is becoming weaker by the day and they are not even talking about it. You can't just continue pretending. Things went wrong. They must be bring to account for their stewardship, and that's how it's done in any way, so that we can move forward.
I must thank you so much, Mr. Erima Shetima, convener, Northern Stakeholders Forum. Thanks for your views on this matter of discourse. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right, coming up next on the show, we'll look at something that is also on the high side, price of gas. We examine market forces and external factors as price of cooking gas continues to soar. Mr. Olatubosun Oladapo is the national president of the Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers. He's live in the studio, and we'll get talking after this break. Don't go away.